You're in the Matrix.
Definitely.
With the Matrix, man.
From the Nadia to the zenith, I rise from the fire like the phoenix. As the waterfall between Mars and Venus, they calling me the hamster with the wheel is. 8 spokes, 2 posts, that's the helix. The grass on this side is the greenest. Born a genius.
We're here with Baba KCK Delgado.
And I'm wearing my Harriet Tubman just to let y'all know I ain't playing around.
Let's get a zoom in on that. Never argue with anyone Harriet would have left behind.
That's right, man. You know who you are. We ain't gotta tell you.
We out here.
Stop collaborating with the enemy, man.
Yeah.
It's all a cover up like makeup. Wake up, abracadabra. Open sesame, believe half
Violet
what you
fog,
have
folks.
and none of what you see. 12 months out the year, 7 days of the week. In the beginning was the word I create as I speak. Day cycle, night cycle. Sun walking on the moon like Mike. Sunrise, sunset. Almond raw. I'm Otep architect. Builder of the pyramid steps, black dot. The Ark of the Covenant. Permanent, like the firmament. Create the worlds when I put my words in it. In the spacecraft.
Family, we're right here at Junior's, right across the street from Long Island University in Brooklyn. We're about to see some great Babas today. We're gonna see Baba James Small. We're gonna see Baba Kaba Kamene. We're gonna see Baba Mfundishi, and a couple others. So it's a great day of learning, and a great day of sharing. And I'm spending it today with my brother Kemet Maroon, a magnificent young brother who is continuing our legacy by telling our history, telling our traditions, our customs, our culture. And we're very grateful for that, man. And to all the young people that are maintaining our history and our culture and our customs alive. Peace.
Sand coal for burning it. Crushing up the herbs with the dung beetle turning it. 12 helpers of the Lord on a wheel turning it. This is universal law. I hope you're learning it. Abracadabra. Open sesame, believe half of what you hear and none of what you see. 12 months out the year, 7 days of the week. In the beginning was the word I create as I speak. Madam, I am Adam, Radam, Ali Kazam. The skills of the hands determine the man. Electrical forces making man and woman. A-N-D, that's Andros the man. N-A-D, that's Simon Script Sand. D-A-N, that's the lost tribes of Dan. 12 apostles, 12 disciples, 12 DNA strands, 12 tribes.
Record at a specific time. It just do all kind of stuff. But I'm recording now.
Mfundishi Jhutyms Hassan Salim.
Hotep.
Welcome here to magical Kemet.
Hotep. See his material. How will we get this? Go ahead, you tell us. I'm so thankful. This is big solid. Ooh, this is solid.
I don't play when I come out, bro.
Ooh.
Which is PowerPoint. My PowerPoint.
Yes.
I need to. That is solid. Ooh.
This is spiritual warfare 101. This is sweet small success for herbs and for abundance and prosperity. You know where it's from? The nurse from?
No. That's the new kids.
She said that's for the new one. That's for my bed too?
No, you can, but it's not. Rub it.
Do you have a vanilla scent?
That's almond body butter. I take cash, I take cash in, I take Venmo, I do have a credit card. How are you? Nice. I don't take that. Good over here.
Yo, she got it going. I'm so thankful. How's your family? How's your family? Good?
What color, bro?
You said that's your color?
Yeah. That's what it said in that book, bro.
Oh, I forgot we was going through the book.
This one is no more bad.
That was a portal. We went through the portal so fast. We went through the portal so
I
fast.
really like this thing here, man. I really like it.
Like this is 150.
Brother.
I just got a piece
Now, brother Mfundishi is going to tell Kemet about this piece.
All right, this is a today piece from the today people. It is sterling silver with opal and onyx in it. And it was done for the royal family. I'm a chieftain, even among the today, as he's also in Ghana, and it was done for the royal family. So they told me to sell it to the people who are royal. Okay? Okay, so he's receiving it, so it belongs to the royal family. And it means royalty. It means that he belongs to the upper conscious people. It means he has to be doing stuff in the community. So when you wear this, you're on your best, and you represent the best. Do our brother.
Yes, yes.
I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful. Look how blessed I am. I'm so appreciative. I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful. I'm so blessed. I just got a birthday gift from Mfundishi. Even though I did pay for it, the price he gave me was extremely lower than he was supposed to be selling it for. So Mfundishi gave me a gift for my birthday. Ashe. I'm so thankful.
JHUTYMS 00500.
$sign JGU.
No, JH.
I'm so thankful. Hey, you give me a birthday. I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful. Yeah. I'm thankful.
I like her pants. She's got the arms.
Oh yeah, like look like the jeans, but skirt at the bottom, dress at the bottom.
It's very creative. That's her creativity. She probably made those herself. Huh?
I'm so thankful. I'm so
Lady
thankful.
has some coconut cake. I had a piece of coconut cake.
How was it? Sweet.
Incredible. Beautiful, babe. I came back, I was teasing her. I said, I was like, sister, I had some doubts, but they were all erased.
Crystals.
Yeah. It's powerful, man. That's what Crystal, I wish she was here. I would love that here.
Yeah, she like crystals too?
Well, she just got into that. She just got a course on crystals.
Oh, you said she took a course on crystals?
Yeah, the healing. Because it's going to be part of her, of what she does.
Okay.
Not just a massage, brother. Not just a massage, but the healing.
This lady who got her nose
The healing
ring,
with crystals.
Yeah. Like statues. Respect, God. Yeah.
something like
This one right here, this is one of them drones that's like under 70. It just don't extend, but it do everything else though. They do everything else though. Y'all gotta get your beard balm from her. I got my beard balm from her. Y'all gotta check her out. She got that beard balm for y'all, and she got that soap, handmade soap too. Give thanks. Give thanks. Beautiful, bro. I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful. Family. All the family.
Those people it's like for my dogs, people don't uncertified dogs. So it's not. That's why I'm able to do business out of my apartment.
Professor Smalls was telling me that Mfundishi is a red belt.
Oh yeah.
So when I went outside to talk to Mfundishi for like 20 minutes, and he was telling me that he used to be a master in Kung Fu, but he is a Grandmaster in the African art. You can't tell me that's not a powerful picture.
I thought it didn't get to you because I was sending it from my phone because this, it got to you.
You gotta try to get one with you in it, with us four.
I mean, take your time, start working. It's beautiful, beautiful vibes.
They see something that moves, and then instinctually they go into like seeking it. That's what I'm trying to do with kids. If you stay still and you erratically
Full things, man.
what's that? And then go chasing. Something like that's the game. There's something called predatory trick. Two dogs running next to each other. Something catch my keys with me.
What's that called?
So that's what happened with this dog. And then something is out of fear. He had mentioned something about like there's no escape. They go and fight it. It's always the same dogs or something. That's also a training area. Some go genetic. They buy it different. I got spirituality. That's no, I'm left. So I pretty much read that. You already had something home. Get those two. Trying to say my birthday?
No. I just always had little stuff like that. I just always had stuff.
Yeah, right? Like, what's the perfect opportunity like my son? It did seem like you want to, no. It seemed like you want to cut our conversation short. You like 3 times. Okay. I'm a jokester. So my dad was just I'm reading this book, and I know that was the spiritual warrior. I had no idea. So reading
Thank you, Baba.
I didn't get a picture from him.
You said you want to take a picture with him?
The oil. You want it?
Before I start, is anybody here that didn't get a good load? Keep your hands up. She's gonna come around and make sure that you get it. Put it on your left wrist and then rub your 2 wrists together. The left is the sign of receiving. Because if somebody gets it, Most of you to team. That's good.
Sacred information. This is my card. It's a beginner's class. And it's online. Yeah, I thought I gave it. No. The class is online. This is the website you go to get more information. My name is Unclass. And pass the word. Yeah. Blue Lotus.
Testing, testing. Testing, testing. Greetings, everyone. Peace, everybody.
Peace.
We have had so far so good, a wonderful event, and we just getting warmed up because we got the brother here who is a great inspiration to me. I love the brother. I have met him many years ago, and we have done some things together. And now, when I reached out, he was right on it. He's like, "Oh yes, let's do it." And we had done Magical Kemet before, and it was such a huge success. I said, let's do Magical Kemet revisit, because so much has happened since. And I don't have much to say. I just want to introduce my man, my fellow martial artist, a great brother, and Mfundishi Jhutyms.
Yes.
Before we get started, I just like everybody just to close your eyes for a second. A very powerful brother who's a good friend of mine, Brother Paor. Haru Ankara Samaj's brother just passed, and we was going to give a minute of silence for him. Dua Necha. Dua. Again, I want to say thank you very much for y'all coming out and supporting yourself.
Yes.
It's not about me. It's about us.
Yes.
It's about we. We are all one. And so I want to thank you very much because we come here to open up your mind. We want you to think unlimited. There is nothing you can't do. Think unlimited, think unlimited, think unlimited. What we can do as a people is unlimited if you think that way. A poem is the naked advice of the heart. Malcolm was a poem, Toussaint was a poem, Zinga was a poem, Garvey was a poem, and each one of you are poems of only you would think. Intelligent. There is nothing you can't do. Think unlimited, think unlimited, think unlimited, think unlimited. What we can do as a people is unlimited if you think that way. The ancestors left us a legacy. You have been scuffling with no money where money is irrelevant. Your unlimited reservoir of cash is your consciousness. Wake up, African people. Nobody's coming to save you but you. The ancestors sent you, and you, and you, and you, and you. The ancestors sent you here. And that's why you are in this room today. Because we're at a very critical time, talking about magical Kemet. We are the Kemetic living all over again. Brother Kaba broke down this ancestral legacy. When I did a show for King Simon, I did so many shows, I don't know who I did it for, but anyhow. I did a show this week, I did 4 shows this week. I did a show for somebody and they said, oh no, it was Brother Reggie. And he wanted me to express, why are Africans in the Americas so connected to Kemet? More so than other indigenous Africans on the continent. And so I tried to break this progression down. Today, in doing this presentation, it will be made clear. But what happened is that during the so-called European enslavement of African people at the end of the 15th and 16th and 17th centuries, the Africans who were traded and sold here and kidnapped were the Africans who had migrated from the Happy Valley. Because what happened when the chief got an ultimatum, listen, I need 300 slaves. If I don't get them from you, if I don't get them from that you sell, we're gonna take your people. So he was like, oh no, we taking these foreigners who just got here. So the Africans who were shipped to the Caribbeans, to America, and to Brazil, were Africans who were migrating from the Happy Valley. So you had this still in your consciousness. And so after 300 or 400 years, all of a sudden now, Kemet reemerges and you go, oh, wait a minute, I can feel that. I'm in Ra, Nasut Nature, Atin Ra, Nebenam. Yeah, Ra, I'm into that, you know. And so we are the ones that are resurrecting this whole consciousness. That movement came from Africans who in the diaspora. Africans at home have been programmed that Kemet has nothing to do with them. You ask the average Nigerian, they have nothing, hey, yeah, those some Arabs. You know, some Arabs. They don't know that's us. Okay? Uganda, they trace Ramses, Ursama Atra, Setepin Ra, Ramses III, they trace his bloodline to Uganda. The Africans living in Uganda. I'm in Uganda talking about, listen, they come from here. They was like, where'd you get that stuff from? No, I'm Makuki. I'm Makunde. You know, they only know their ethnic groups. And so I'm just letting you know that link, as you go through the presentation, you'll see how we actually populated the planet. And there were Africans who came here. There's African records in New England, in Nova Scotia, during the time of Tutankhamun. They found Medu Neter and writings there. There's writings in the Grand Canyon showing the brothers were there throughout Mexico embalming. In fact, in Ursa Ma'at Setepin Ra, who they called Ramses II, they found American tobacco and nicotine and another drug inside of the stomach of Ramses II. So the only way that could have happened is that there was intertrade internet. And who do you think those Olmec heads were? Okay, so I'm just, before I get in here, I just want you to touch on that, so maybe there'll be a question that I can connect it a little better first. But let's get down to the nitty-gritty, brothers and sisters. Africa, and we're only using this word Africa because that is a word that we are now identifying the continent with. Dr. Ben used to call it Kemet. I came up with another name that you'll see inside of my book that some of the Africans use. But we didn't have a name for the whole continent per se. We only understood ourselves as regions. So we had a name for our nation, for our region and our people. That's the way it was until, it wasn't the whole continent was. But now I need to say with clarity that everybody knows that Homo sapiens sapien began in Africa. In fact, Dr. Diop showed us that there's 6 families to the Homo erectus, the Homo family. That's the ape-like human being. There's 6 families. No place else in the world. Only 2 can be found on any other continent. That's Homo erectus, and then finally Homo sapien. What they call Peking man and Neanderthal are an offshoot of Homo erectus that maybe left Africa maybe 150,000 years ago. Okay? There's waves of Africa 150,000 years ago. Then there's a wave of Africans that left the continent maybe 100,000 years ago. 75,000 years ago. Those that left Africa around 75,000 years ago moved into what we would call Australia today. During that time, the Ice Age, you could walk across. If you look at ancient maps, you'll see that Asia had a elongated tip that moved right down into Australia, so they can walk right into Australia, okay? Or take small canoes. Now, the reason why you can't find Neanderthal and Denisovan no place else but Eurasia is because they didn't have the intelligence to build boats. Africans have been building boats more than 100,000 years ago. So we were able to travel from Africa. The current would take you right into South America, right into Mexico, right into the Americas. So I just need you to understand. So that's why you'll find Africans in all the continents except for Antarctica. That's the only continent we don't have anybody that's indigenous to because of the climate. But all the other 6 continents, and there's only really 6 continents because Europe is not a continent. So I'm here just to straighten the record. Europe is just Western Asia. Look up the definition of a continent. It's a large mass of land that divides the earth into its major segments. No, it's just Western Asia. That's all. Whoever defines the situation, whoever controls the situation, defines it.
Right.
So they just made themselves a continent, even though it don't even go by that. Okay, so we setting the record straight here. Europe is not a continent. And even the name Europe is named after an African queen from northern Africa called Europa. All right, so let's put the record straight. All of the royal family in ancient Europe, whether it was Germanic or whatever, is connected to Africans. If you look at everybody's royal shield, you're going to see either a Moor or an indigenous African from Kemet or Kash. All of the royal families. There's no look at the German royal family. The English royal family comes from Germany. And the only reason why they made a distinction during European War I, they were at war with Germany, so England had to remove itself from Germany. But they're connected. They're the same family. They're all in bed together. And both of their royal shields has Africans at the time. In fact, after the Crusades, there were almost no Europeans who could read and write in the royal family. So they had to bring in Africans to be able to keep their records and everything, because we were the only literate people really on the planet almost, okay? So, I'm every race wrapped into one. They teach you that you were the last when you were the first. been to slavery today, what happened to the highly advanced African civilizations in Happy Itiru Valley region? They were clearly the most advanced material, cultural antiquity, thousands of years ahead of others. Greece and Rome is 3,000 years behind ancient Kemet. I want you to understand, America is just a little over 300 years old. Greece, the first European civilization, is 3,000 years behind Kemet. You know, so I'm trying to put things in a spatial perspective for you so you get it on the chance. Okay. What was the process used to blot out the achievements of African population from the annals of history? But more importantly, how and under what circumstances did Africans among the very first people to invent writing, architecture, nation building, urban planning, construction, engineering, lose their arts and science almost completely? Remember I said whoever controls the situation defines it? All the books written about Africans is by the conqueror. Only the conqueror's viewpoint is supported views. So we are concerned with African civilization alone here tonight. Before the parasitic, civilized, uncultured people deculturalize Africans themselves, we have to write our own achievements, just like Asia has to write their own achievements. So this becomes really important. At the turn of the century, when Emancipation Proclamation was signed in 1864, Africans were not allowed to read or write in America. Within 10 years after the Civil War, Africans created over 100 colleges, over 1,000 schools, and created 10 towns that were totally self-sufficient 10 years after the Civil War. Let me just say how great y'all are. There has been nobody on the planet that has done that in that short amount of time. You took a people who was not allowed to read or write, and they create over 100 colleges, over 1,000 schools, and then you got people like Padmore. Later, Du Bois got his PhD in 1998, and guess what his thesis was on? Ancient Kemet. Okay, so we've known about this for a long time. I'm just trying to joggle your mind, charter schools was created to stop you from educating yourself. But guess what? Your President Trump is going to make you go back to that. Because I think he disbanded the educational system. He made it illegal for African studies. He told them, look at the audacity here. He told black colleges that they can't teach African studies or they won't be funded. Can you imagine telling Jews, if you teach about Jews, we don't fund you?
Hello.
Okay, so we got to step up our game. We got to step up our game, y'all. We need to be able to support ourselves, put your money in black banks. You got to support black businesses like you've never done before. You talk about Wall Street and all of that. That's by 1920. That's just 40 years outside of slavery. There was no European city that equaled Black Wall Street. Rosewood, Haiti, and North Carolina. These out-capitalized the capitalists. That's how powerful we are. But you know what the underlying thing that we didn't understand? The reason why they got rid of that is because we create the greatest economics in the country. We have the greatest economic, not the multimillionaires because they don't have no natural resources. We are. So that's how Haiti, Little Africa, all of that was so powerful. What they did when they destroyed that, they set up a system so that we can never do that again. Dr. Leonard Jeffries used to teach, you have, at the top, you have governance. Then you have economics. And then you have culture. Your politics determines the economic strength that you have so that you have diplomatic relationships. And then your culture is what your economics is based upon. Culture is your medicine. So if you don't remember anything else today, remember this. Culture is your medicine. You show me a people who are outside of their cultural paradigm. I will show you people who are enslaved and being controlled and manipulated by another's people. And Dr. Clark taught me that the way you destroy your enemy's culture is by practicing your own.
That's right.
See, I don't need to badmouth their stuff.
Right.
Just practice your own. There's a show on Tubi called Cultural Wars. And in Cultural Wars, they're talking about how the Europeans control our youth. And so what this guy did is he went around to all the cities in America and got the top teachers, the teachers who received all these awards for teaching black kids. In every city, made a cultural test. One European, one African. Out of over 50 cities, only one person in 50 cities passed the African culture test, and he got a C. Everybody else failed, but all of these great African teachers got an A in the European culture test. These are the ones teaching our kids. These are the best. The best got an F in African culture. If culture is your medicine and your best teachers don't know your culture, you in real trouble. So I just wanted to put that's fresh out there. So I just want to say this. That's why Africans created preschool. Africans in America created preschools so that we can prepare the kids before they even went. Because at 3 to 5 years old, your mind is like a giant sponge. You're absorbing more information than 50 of the largest computers in the world. That's how the child's mind is, absorbing information. And so the Europeans was like, wait a minute, we got to stop this movement here. We got to take over. So that's what they took over preschool. And because they wanted to be able to get your mind early. We're going to mess your mind up early. By the 3rd grade, they know how many prisons to make. They know how many concentration camps. They know how many penal institutions to create by a 3rd grade aptitude test, because they got your mind already by 3rd grade. NASA did a test, and they wanted to create geniuses. So NASA got some of the, they employ some of the greatest geniuses in the world today. So they took their geniuses and they created a genius test. And really a genius test is about quantitative and analytical thinking. Can you think out of the box? Can you solve problems, even though you've never been faced with it? You know, how initiative are you? Are you creative? They tested all the kids around America, all ethnicities. Between 3 and 5, they found out that 98% of the kids were geniuses. 98% of the kids were geniuses, 3 to 5 years old. They were just absorbing information, being able to solve problems. No, that square peg can't fit in there. Boom, bam, they were like on it, you know? Okay? Then they tested the kids in the 4th grade. It was down to only 50% were geniuses. What happened between kindergarten and 4th grade? They tested junior high school. It was down to 20%. They went to the high schools. The high school, in the 10th grade, it was down to 12%. Then they said, well, let's just do the general population who went to college, who graduated from school. Brother, 3%. So I hate to say this, but only 3% of y'all are geniuses out there. But maybe we got the whole 3% up in here. You know, let's look at it that way. Okay. So now, wait a minute. So between pre-K and being an adult, 25 years old, only 3% of the population. So when we do the conclusion here, it was the educational system that messed up their mind. And the higher you go, Dr. Ben used to tell us that a BS degree was bullshit. He said a master's degree was more shit. He said a PhD was probably higher and deeper in this shit. added something onto that. The whole society is defecating on you, right? So if you don't at least have one of those degrees, you're getting it straight in your face. At least if you got a BA degree, you a toilet tissue. You get your master's, you got a softer tissue. You get your PhD, you got Charmin's, real soft. And so your enslaver lets you get away with a lot of stuff. Okay? So now don't think I'm anti-education. I'm all for education. But remember I said culture is your medicine. Are you getting a cultural education? Other than Carter G. Woodson wrote in 1931, and y'all check me out, The Miseducation of the Negro. He said our most educated black people in America will be our new enslavers. Did y'all hear me? Yeah. Because you've been stamped approved by your oppressor. So now you go out and do his job for him. And you'll probably do his job better. Have you ever seen some black overseers? They were more fierce. They were more fierce than the white overseers. Master, am I hitting them hard enough? Am I hitting them hard enough, Master? Okay, all right, so you have to understand. And right now, we got some tremendous gatekeepers. Stuff you don't want to hear. Listen to this. I live in New York City now, in Harlem. In New York City, in almost every department, there's a black person that's in charge. And we're in the worst shape we've ever been in. So just having black people as a placeholder, as your mayor, right? You know, as your senator, you know, as your House of Representatives, just having it doesn't mean you're going to get some justice or ma'at. In fact, many of them, because they're the placeholders, and they can be more treacherous. In fact, look at the Supreme Court. Clarence Ass Thomas got the worst voting record of any of the Supreme. You got Klan members on there. His record is worse than theirs. He was the first one that canceled affirmative action. He got his job through affirmative action. And he was the first person that struck it down. So I just want you to know, having another black face don't mean that you're going to get some justice. Remember, culture is your medicine. We need to have, every time they move into office, we need to have them take a cultural test. Failed? No, get out of here. Okay, all right. Whoever controls the minds of our children controls our future. Remember I said after the Civil War, we got busy controlling the minds of our children's education. People, this is Civil War right now. We need to get busy again. That's not even on the agenda. I don't hear people in each of the cities talking about we need independent African institutions to control the minds of our children. I don't hear that. I hear Africa having a revolution saying we kicking the Europeans out, but what are you going to replace it with? Some handkerchief head Negroes? You know what I'm saying? Who are you replacing it with? And I've taught in Africa, East Africa, where I've been to over 30 countries on the African continent. The educational system there in almost every country is worse than it is here. And we already know what we get. Okay. So, how do we replace that? This is why they're looking to America. I know y'all thinking, oh man, we jacked up. No, we are the most educated group of Africans in the world right now. Outside of some Nigerians, some of the Nigerians have the highest aptitude, but in many cases it's European aptitude because they were great learners and they learned well from the Europeans. Okay, but they're looking for Africans in America to come and bring business. They're looking for you to take your skills and bring it there. I speak in Brazil. Brazil never had, even though they got 100 million Africans, they never had a place where they had a HBUS school. They just was allowed to go to college in 2000. That was yesterday, brother. And then I visited their colleges and stuff. It's like high school in terms of what they're learning. And the people in charge are Portuguese Africans. The Africans have about 4 or 5 Portuguese, you know, like Angola, Mozambique. Those are Africans who speak Portuguese because they were colonized by the Portuguese. So those are the scholars in Brazil. So that means that who's going to teach them? They're looking for Africans coming out of America to come and be the educators of the world. Let me say this here. You need to know this. Nigeria is the largest African population on the continent. The average Nigerian is 19 years old. That means if you take all the Nigerians, add their age up and divide it by the number, 19. But the average age of an African on the whole continent is 17. That's young. You see how young Africa is? That's what's scaring Europeans. Tomorrow it's just going to be us here. That's not in China. China has a population. They're not having babies. Japan will pay you $3,500 to come and impregnate a Japanese woman. A black person to come, yes. And the biggest thing in Japan right now is afros. Everybody's want an afro. So this is what's going on in the world, y'all. And we are asleep. We are asleep. We are the world. So that means that if the average age is 17, they need everything. So all the businesses that you have here, you can bring it to Africa. I know people are like, is it safe? I'm like, wait a minute, there's 20 murders a day in Detroit. and that's before lunch. And then you ask me, is it safe in Africa? When you're in Ghana, when you're in that place, you are so safe, you feel so good. The policemen want to help you, take you to the next destination. You know, you ain't got to be dodging bullets.
Okay.
You know. People, we need to be thinking about how do we get home? And how do we get home and prosper? In Ghana, for $35,000, you can build a 5-bedroom home, brick home. $35,000, you can do a doghouse here. You don't have enough money for a garage. You got a doghouse. Look at our ancestors, y'all. Take a look. Look what they look like. And the Arabs are talking about this is them. I don't think so. Just remember I said culture is your medicine. I know we all grew up speaking English, but this is one of the lowest vibration languages on the planet. So even though we're using English, we got to raise the vibration of the words we choose. So instead of saying good morning, you're not morning nothing. You say grand rising or things of that nature, okay? So change the way you greet each other. Stop saying good morning to people. Then next you'll be saying you had a bloody good time. Now let me ask you a question. If you had a bloody good time, brother, what was you doing? Oh, that was bloody good. No, it wasn't. We got to check what we say. That's all right because most of us are in a European paradigm. Remember, we're probably the ones that got the A on the European test. Okay? We out European to European in this whole thing, okay? We got to check our words, and we got to do that on all the different things that we do. Okay, that was just a small example. We give thanks to the ancestors who walked before us eternally. Gratitude is the greatest prayer that you could do. I give thanks that I'm alive. I'm going to give thanks for my parents. I give thanks for bringing me into the world. I give thanks that I can breathe. I give thanks that I have the ability to change. And change is the only thing consistent in the universe. This is Narmer. Narmer united Upper and Lower Kemet around 4240 BCE. Narmer was a magi from ancient Kosh. So really, see, this is why, even when you teach history, you got to do it from a cultural perspective. So, if he was a Kushite, and he united the bottom, he just united Southern Kush to Northern Kush. And later we call that area Kemet. So it's like, brother, you got some relatives in Mississippi, and then y'all move up here. Are y'all different people? No, you were different people. After a while, you begin to develop a different dialect, stuff like that. But y'all the same people. So the ancient Kemet And for people who are hearing me for the first time, the Kemetic is the name of the ancient Egyptian. Egypt is a Greek word. It doesn't come about until at the end of their whole legacy. So the name of the country was called Kemet, K-M-T. And we add the little E so that English people can pronounce it, Kemet. Okay. There was two other names, Tamari, the beloved land. And then Sematawi. Sematawi means the united two lands. So it became Sematawi after Narmer, who was a magi, united upper and lower Kemet. Next. Now the date there in your head, I want you to put this date in your head because the Europeans give you a wrong date. 4240. 4240 is the year 1 Sematawi. 4240, that's 4,200 years before the Common Era. So that was 6,265 years ago. So remember, culture is your medicine. So the Jews got a culture calendar. The Arabs, everybody got a culture calendar. The Arabs got their calendar. Greek. We created calendars. And we using somebody else's stuff. The Gregorian calendar is they just took the African calendar and put their names on it. And then they messed it up. It used to be 30 days in every one. So the emperor wanted more than the other. So he snatched some days from one calendar and put it on his. Because he wanted August to have more. And then Julius Caesar, he wanted more. And then February ended up with 28.
Stupid.
Okay, so I'm just letting y'all the real stuff. We created calendars. Okay. How do we honor and praise our great ancestors? Now, this is just 4 ways. There's many ways. 1, we speak and write their names like they did. So that's why you don't hear me saying no Ramses II. It's Ursa Ma'at Ra, Satepin Ra, Medi Amen. Doesn't that sound powerful?
Yes.
And Ramses II, he wouldn't even know who you were talking about. Who is this guy stealing my stuff? You know? He wouldn't even know who you're talking about. Ursa Ma'at Ra, Satepin Ra, Medi Amen. A name in ancient Kemet is called Rin. And Rin means the utterance of your energy. You see that? That's why we got to use our stuff. So I walk up and you say, brother, what's the utterance of your energy? Jhutyms Hassan Salim. Dua, that's he can feel that. Okay. If I say, what's the utterance of your energy? And you say, Bob. I'm like, bro, I don't think so. Now, I hope I didn't mess with any Bobs in the audience. But you know, come on, Bob, you don't look like a Bob. We use and honor their great completed works. So that's what we're doing now. We're honoring their great completed works. We complete their incompleted works. What I'm doing here right now is I'm honoring our ancestors by completing their incompleted works to make sure we have a cultural mind, that culture is our medicine. And from there we can learn our history. See, because history, I was a history major, that could be dragged. Look, the guy was born 1920. He died 1950. He got his PhD at 33. And now you don't know nothing else about him. Was he gay? Did he have some kids? Did he play ball? I mean, come on, something. Okay, so when you add the culture to the history, now it has essence to it. Now it got soul. All right. 4, we create perfect images of them in carving, sculpture, painting, statues, and monuments so that their likeness will be remembered for eternity. So that's what they did, y'all. That's what they did. When you see these perfect statues. Now, Europeans took that part and they ran with this. Almost every part. In high school, I grew up in New Jersey, and almost every other park was Washington something, with a white boy on a horse. Okay, every park you went to, you saw a white boy on a horse. Okay, because they understood that they wanted to leave images behind of their ancestors. So even if you're retarded, you knew who George Washington was. Okay, that's how they progressed it. You know, that's how they put it out. The Pacific Ocean used to be called the Ethiopian Ocean. So I wanted to show you a map because y'all thinking Mfundishi be making up some stuff. The Ethiopian Sea and the Ethiopian Ocean. This is before Columbus in 1492. And the world used to be orientated the other way. And they turned the world around. So y'all been upside down, inside out, and backwards your whole life. And you proud of it. Next. The Sahara Desert at one time was a green Sahara. At one time in the middle of the Sahara Desert, there was a great sea called the Tefa Sea. The Tefa Sea. Go look this up. I'm not making this up. The Tefa Sea. So I brought the map so you can see it. It was called the Tefa Sea. So as an anthropologist, I was out in the middle of the Sahara and we ran across whale bones in the Sahara. We saw saltwater fish and saltwater shells and clear water shells, freshwater shells, showing that at one time you had great lakes like Lake Chad, which used to be a giant lake. So I'm gonna blow your mind here. The largest dinosaur bone found in the world was found in Africa at Lake Chad. It was taller than Tyrannosaurus Rex. But you know that was like 45 feet high. They found a dinosaur in Africa bigger than that. He was amphibious. So you know that wasn't a little pond. Okay, if he's 45 feet high. Okay. That's probably where the Japanese got, what is that, Rodan? We must teach our children to be unapologetically black Africans. I teach that to become an English German Shepherd, the little kids. No, he's a German Shepherd. If I bring him to America, is he an American German Shepherd? No, he's a German Shepherd. If I take him to Canada, is he a Canadian? No. If he has pups in a plane, is he a TWA German Shepherd? No. So the conclusion is the Chinese people are direct descendant from Africans. And when you see this presentation later, you'll understand that. Don't believe the hype. We were tracking the stars before they learned to speak. Next one, you'll see what we're talking about. This is Adam's calendar, 75,000 years old, found in South Africa. This is where they saw the first Ankh. This is where we found the first symbol of Ra. 75,000 years ago. The only thing in Europe was Neanderthal. And then Dinosaur in Asia, 75,000. We had already, this plots the summer solstice, already the falcon for Haru. So the paraphernalia that we see in ancient Kemet, 75, wait a minute, and this was done 75,000 years ago. In order to do this, you probably had to be tracking the stars for another 50,000. You see what I'm saying? If you already created the science of the processions, Mutabaraka says, slavery is not African history. Slavery interrupted African history. They tried to bury us, and they didn't realize we are the seeds. So when you look around the room, look. So everybody, I want you to take right now, I want you to take up your left hand and take a sniff. You are sniffing the sacred blue lotus oil. This was used in the temples of ancient Kemet. So when you came in, you got the blue lotus oil. And the reason why was to leave the outside world outside. And when you come into the temple, your mind now is ready for consciousness. Because your brain is sitting on top of your nasal cavity. So the sacred blue lotus also in certain dosages becomes hallucinogenic. It's like having mushrooms or some peyote or cactus. It can take you to other dimensions and other levels. So the idea is to have you ready, have your mind ready. So everybody take one more sniff. All right, next one. Believe in yourself that you are a magical being. Wake up. You learn who you are by unlearning what they taught you to be. So people, that's our big job right now. It's not stuffing stuff in. We got to get some stuff out. We got to unlearn a whole lot of stuff. The beautiful thing about our youth is that because they haven't been totally programmed, that we got a chance to give them the correct information. We are the parents of all humans. You see these people, I know y'all thinking, somebody saying, oh, they look Chinese. No, the Chinese and the Asians look like this. These are the San, the Khoi, the San Khoi, the Khoi people in Central and Southern Africa. They are the ones that populated Southern Asia and moved into China. Remember, the first dynasty in China is Shang 1 and 2, set up by Kushites. The martial arts, introduced them by Damo, Buddhahama, 26 disciples coming from India by way of Kemet, by Kash. He was a Kashite. So when I was in China, I was a national champion in the martial arts, so nobody come here and try to jump me after the show. When I was there, I looked up on the walls, and there's black men teaching the Chinese. And I said, wait a minute, you didn't show, we don't see this in America. And he looked me right in the eye. He says, we Chinese, we teach Chinese history. You teach Africa. He only had to say it once. I came back and formed the Pan-African Federation. Okay, and now this year with Mfundishi Hassan, who's an ancestor now, was our first president, and we're celebrating our 40th anniversary this year of the Pan-African Federation. The black Chinese, I don't want you to just take my word for it. It's been documented. We got the names, Wukong-san. In fact, in many places in Japan, their language comes from Nigeria. Groups of Nigerians travel there as warriors and set up many of the towns that we see in Japan today. I'm showing you, I'm giving you names, so write these names down. The Nakin, the Naga, the Mayo. These are the people who civilized China, Japan, later Korea, and all of those places like that. 35,000 years ago, a group from Africa, later known as the Jomon. So you can look these names up, Jomon. They took a route which entered Japan. They became the first humans to inhabit the Japanese islands. There are 7 islands in Japan. The original people there, some of them are pushed to one small island and they are reservations. So they're like the Native American reservations here in Japan. But they're all connected to these people. This is the proper spatial perspective. The Happy River, which you knew as the Nile River, is flowing down north. Down north from up south. I know y'all used to up north and down south because you've been upside down, inside out, and backwards. And there are 6 cataracts. And let me show you how they don't want to change. When the Europeans came into Africa from the Mediterranean, they traveled against the current, and when they got to Aswan, they ran across the first cataract. So they named this the first cataract. If the current is going this way, how's that going to be the first cataract unless there is no more? So then they come in, there's another cataract. Oh, okay, we're going to name that the second. Then the third, then the fourth. So they got it all backwards. If you coming down, there's 3 sources of the Nile. From Uganda, we got the White Nile. From Lake Nwanza, means Mountain of the Moon. Like Kilimanjaro in Tanzania at the very top, Kilimanjaro in Swahili is Mountain of the Moon. In Uganda, we got Mount Choka, Mountain of the Moon. So we got 3 mountains of the moon. Dr. Ben tells us that our ancestors in Kemet said, we come from the foothills of the mountains of the moon. So the people in Kemet are telling you, we come from the interior of Africa, the eastern coast of Africa, the interior, and from Ethiopia, Punt, all the way down, and we migrate. And then later we find out that many Africans come from West Africa. Remember I said there used to be the Green Sahara? And traveled into the Happy Valley. You can give it the next. This just shows you the diverse. Africa has the most diverse culture in the world. Nobody speaks more languages than Africa. We're the most multilingual people. I ran this girl in Tanzania. I was going to Kilimanjaro, and this girl in Tanzania near the border of Kenya, she was there selling her goods. She said, I speak 40 languages. I speak Japan. I speak America. I speak Philippines. You know, she just knew the names of the country. But she could sell you some goods in any language. And she never went to school for it. Nobody, melanin allows you to think through your skin, independent of your brain. You have a quicker twitch reaction. That's why when you see the line up for the 100 meters, it looks like there's racism. 10 brothers line up, 10 sisters line up, okay? Every running record in the Olympics, go check me out. Every running record in the Olympics is held by a person of African descent. From the steeplechase to the marathon, which is what, 26 miles, all the way to steeplechase to the 100 meters to the 60. African person of African descent is the record holder in every running event. You think that's an accident? Okay. So if you look around the world, you see us all over the place. Go ahead. This just shows you Crew Magnum, the first Europeans were Africans. In fact, 20,000 years ago, there were probably almost nobody with pink skin, unless you were albino. That only after the real last ice age, where people came out of the caves, did we begin to see the Europeans. And they have wreaked havoc on every society that existed. There is no society that was improved by the Europeans coming out of the cave. Did y'all hear me? Yeah. Not one. The Olmecs, I went to South America. Now let me just tell you, I heard Dr. Kawa even talk about this again. There was a wave of Africans who traveled to the Americas by skull bone they found 50,000 years ago. So the first indigenous people come here to North America came here about 50,000 years ago. Now I told you Neanderthal couldn't get in a boat. He didn't have no boats. So could only been Africans. All skulls up until about 15,000 years ago in America are all African. African and Australian, who are still Africans. Okay. And they tried to even, the Luzila is supposed to be the first American. So this is what the anthropologists and what they came up with. This is the head that came up with. So it almost looks like the Olmec heads. Now I'm gonna say something else, and maybe you might, in the question and answer period, you might want to talk about it. Off of the coast of Mexico, they found under the water pyramids and a whole complex like ancient Kemet. Underwater, off the coast of Mexico. So now, we used to say, like, he has a Cushite helmet with braids in it, just African braids. So we know he comes from like ancient Kush, but we might have had a black civilization right there off of the before the Ice Age. We know that the last Ice Age probably destroyed more than 90% of the world's population. So that means you had to start all over again. But Kemet starts out full blown. Usually you start at the beginning and then you gradually, Kemet starts out here. When you look at the first golden age and the second golden age, that was the height. Mathematics, engineering, astronomy, astrology, all of that was already writing. Kemet inherited that. Inherited from who? The ancient Kushites. The ancient Kushites are the first people to be civilized on the planet Earth after the last ice age. So they're the bringers of the sun. You have people talk about Lemuria and people talk about Atlantis, but it's theory and they don't have no proof. The cuneiform records they have is not from there, it's from Asia. And let me just say this about this, because people want to say that the cuneiform used to be older than Medu Neter. The writing Medu Neter, which y'all probably know as hieroglyphics, the Medu Neter, is the oldest man-made writing with art, science, literature, poetry, all of that exists. But the same people, the Kushites, invented the writing, passed it down to the Kemetic. They also invented cuneiform.
Cuneiform was created by the same Cushites. The first civilized city in Asia is what? Canaan. Canaan was developed by Nimrod. Nimrod is the son of Cush. Go read the records. He's the son of Cush. So that means the first Asiatic high civilization still comes from ancient Cush. So the people who started Asia there are the same people that started Kemet. Even space, even the Cleons come from us. This is a tribe in Ethiopia. This is where they got the idea of the Cleons. The brother, I can't think of his name now, it escapes me, who started Star Wars, Lucas? He was a closet Egyptologist. That whole story is based upon ancient Kemet. The Vulcan, there's a group of priests in Kemet called the Vulcans. So if you look at Vulcans is ruled by a woman, the Sufiti ruler. They wear the white long robes. They do processions and stuff. It's a Kemet. If you saw the picture on Vulcan, you was like you was in ancient Kemet. And you know those oases where they got aliens from all of the planet come to drink. That was supposed to be like an oasis in the Sahara, where the different groups of Africans would come to get water. And so his whole picture on Star Wars and all of that. In Star Wars, who are the greatest fighters? The Jedi. The Jedi are the high priests of the Magi. This is all African. This is your stuff repackaged and sent back to you. But because you don't know your culture, through your history, you've been bamboozled. Now you got a white mask on talking about you a Jedi. Okay, look at here. Before 2000 BCE, this was the way the world looked. This is upside down. But what I wanted to show you was at least the coloration. So you see, the darker skinned people lived where the sun, near the equator. And all across here, all the way across, in India, some of the darkest people in the world, going all the way across to Japan. Have you ever been in some of these islands here? It looks like you're in the Congo, Papua New Guinea, all of that, all the way to Australia. So you can see this was the coloration. And you see you almost have no color if you come from up there. Now, come on, Mfundishi, you're talking about ancient Kush is the parent of ancient Kemet. Can you prove it? I teach symptomatic thinking. This was an insect bird that's found in Kwastil. Kwastil is in Sudan, which was ancient Kush. This insect burner is about 300 to 400, maybe 500 years before Narmer. Narmer united Upper and Lower Kemet. The dynasty starts with Narmer. This is 400 to 500 years before Narmer, so there's no Kemet yet. The king with an Nkaka in his hand. The king wearing the white crown. Haru sitting on top of a Sarek, the building. Haru Emaketi, which you know is the Sphinx, is Pindar, the black lion. The boats, look, this is ships, this is before. They tell you the Imhotep was the first builder of stone. No, stone buildings already. This is 400 or 500 years before Kemet comes into existence. All the paraphernalia that was in ancient Kemet came from ancient Kush. Now Kemet developed and actually outdid their big brother at some point. But I'm trying to show you that everything they started with came from Kush. And people are using the word Nubia today, y'all. Try not to use that word if you can help. Nubia was a Greek word for people where the gold comes from. So the word in Kemet for gold is Nubu. So when they said Nubian, that means land of the gold. Nubians were people from the land of the gold. But we didn't call ourselves the people from the land of the gold. We had specific names. We were the Cushites. We were Taseti. We were, the Naga. We had specific names, okay? Not Nubians. So Nubian is talking about ancient Kush, but it's the Greek and Roman. It's really the Roman rendition of ancient Cushites. So I just wanted to show you all that paraphernalia was before Kemet. So when I say Kemet started out full blown, you get an idea. And so Kemet, this word means black, Kemet, and this means community or city. So, brother, if I say you live in the black community, what do the people look like there?
Black.
Right, they're not the rainbow people, okay? Or we say rainbow. It says black, the black community. The Greeks is this, Europeans gonna tell you and say the black land. So I remember that. So the first time I went to Egypt, I'm looking for some black land. There's no black here, you know. I realized that there's some gardens, the soil is a little darker, you know, but we didn't name the country after that. Okay, so, go ahead, next. I teach these 5 domains, people. I'm going to start here. We start with the spiritual domain. Spirit is everything. Spirit is energy. Spirit is the creator. Spirit is consciousness. I think Brother Kava touched on this a little bit. Spirit is consciousness. There is nothing without spirit. Spirit is in everything and is the root of everything. So everything is interconnected. That's why you can move an object with your mind. What they call it kinetic energy, right? Because you and the object are what? Are one. That's why sometimes I can complete a person's sentence because I can feel his thoughts. If you get a patent, they send you a list of patent numbers. So if you come up with the next invention, you already have the number and you just send it in. And why they do that? Because thoughts are waves of energy. If I'm thinking it, it's out there. So I could be in New York and I'm thinking of this hot invention, right? And somebody in California get my wave and they run down to the patent office. And then they took my stuff because your stuff ain't your stuff. Your stuff is what? Our stuff. I know that's hard to realize, but that's why they do that. Thoughts are like radio waves. The more receptive you are, you can pick them up. You can be, you can receive other people's thoughts, other people's ideas. So that's why they do this, so that you can protect your thoughts like right away. So when you get the thought, don't procrastinate. You need to run down there and write it. Because when you thought it, somebody else got it. And guess what? You might be thinking it's your thought and you really got somebody else's thought. You sitting back drinking Kool-Aid and you say, you know what? I think I'll invent an ironing board, When somebody already came up with that thought and you're really getting somebody else's thought who probably somebody gave them 30,000 things to iron and they said, I got to make this easy and create the iron board. And then you get that thought and then you run down and you think it's yours. Remember, we are our ancestors. We are the seeds. I know that's hard to, if we come from a Judeo-Christian Islamic background, I know that's hard to bring in your mind. But we have something called the Akashic Records. The Akashic Records can be explained that yesterday, today, and tomorrow is all happening now. So that's why they teach you now is the most important time in your life. I know you want to plan for tomorrow, but you need to pay attention to what's going on right now. Stay here with me, y'all. Everybody take another sniff. Stay with me right now. This is the most important time in your life, okay? And that will prepare you for tomorrow. Malcolm says those who prepare today are the ones who are ready for tomorrow. Okay? So we have to understand that. So the Akashic Record saying yesterday, today, and tomorrow is all happening now. So you know what that really means? That means that everything that has been said is still being said. It's still in the air. Remember this? Energy cannot be destroyed. Only transformed from what? One state to another. And so all the great minds, their words are still in the air. If you're in meditation, you can pick them up. But if you're so busy talking all the time, you're not going to get nothing. Meditation is listening to the divine within. Prayer is speaking to the divine within. Spend more time meditating than praying. And your praying really should be about gratification, gratitude. I'm thankful. Not, God, I need a new car. God, I need a man. God, I need a woman. God, I'm broke. God don't care. And ain't nobody listening to that nonsense. And that's called begging anyhow. That's not a prayer. So we got the spirit domain. Spirit is number one. It's everything. Then we have the mineral domains. Mineral manifest from the spirit. So you learned before the Big Bang, when you have like a nebula, that's gases, spirit compressed, and then it releases, and all the minerals are created from there. So from the spirit comes the mineral. From the mineral and the planet, this earth is a mineral. And we are electromagnetic beings, electromagnetic beings. The sun is electric and the earth is magnetic. So you are an electromagnetic being. You got to understand how, we have no idea how powerful we are. No idea. From the mineral domain, we have the plant domain. Plants come from the minerals. If you don't rotate your crops, it don't have what in it?
Nutrients.
It loses minerals. It has no minerals, no vitamins. So plants depend upon the mineral domain to grow. Animals depend upon the plant domain to eat. Now somebody said, oh, Mfundishi, how about the lion? He don't eat no grass. He only eats other animals that eat grass. Because he got to get this source of protein. Okay, all right? So, and then you have the human domain. So you got spirit, mineral, plant, animal. Now let me say this. All animals were here before we were. All animals were here before we were. Animals are here to teach you how to survive on this earthly plane. So by studying the various animals in the desert, I know how to survive in the desert. If I study the animals in the Great Plains, the grassland, that's where the greatest predators are. I learned how to hunt like the great predators, how to stalk, how to capture, how to defeat my enemy quickly. In the tropical rainforest, if I want to know how to survive there, which is the most dangerous place in the world, I got to watch the animals there. If I see these little red berries all over the place that look juicy, but ain't no birds eating them, and ain't no bugs around them, you better not be around them. You see a little bright frog jumping all over the place, but ain't nobody touching it, don't you touch it. So poisonous that you can't even get to the hospital. You'll be dead on the way. If you grab one of them, lay down and do the prayer. God, I was good while I was here. Because it's over. So, okay. In India and places like that, in the Amazon, if that happened, they gave you a cigarette. So by the time you finish that, so study nature, study the animal domain, all of them. And in ancient Kemet, the falcon represents the king. Because they understood that the pelican falcon is the fastest creature on the planet. He can travel, he can swoop down on his enemies 280 miles per hour. Poof, you don't even know what happened. And you were ancestors. You didn't even see the transformation happen. Go on, what happened here? Okay. He has a keenest eyesight. He can see 2 miles ahead of himself. Only the vulture can do that. And that's the hawk vulture. You can see 2 miles ahead of himself. That means he can spot a mouse under a leaf while he's hovering in the clouds. 280 and the mouse don't even know he's going. He can go underwater, 20 leagues under the water, and catch a fish with his tylons. And when he comes out of the water with his fish, he's dry because of his feathers. Water repellent. When there's a storm, every creature on the planet seeks shelter, except for the falcon. He flies above the storm. So the king wanted you to say, I'm like a mighty falcon. You can't run. I'm the fastest creature in the world. You can't hide. I can see 2 miles out. You can't even jump in the water. I'll get you in my time. And I won't even get wet. Okay? So you see the parallel here symptomatically? You know, so that's why he chose that animal. Why is it the high priest wears a leopard skin? Why is he just wearing the lion skin? Because first of all, the lion is not the king of the jungle. The lion isn't even in a jungle. The lions only survive in the savannah or the Sahel, near the desert area and dry lands. He wants to be in the open plain so he can, you know, catch you, sneak up on you. His color is almost like the grass and everything like that. But the leopard is the most tenacious hunter. The leopard will jump in the water and eat a crocodile. His bite is so good, he bites the brain of the crocodile and eats him. And he don't have no other rivalry. He don't fight no lions. That's why the high priest got, because he's smart. He picks his fight. Like if I was a boxer, I wouldn't have fought Tyson. I'm a leopard. Okay, I want to survive for the next fight. Okay, all right. So the high priest wears leopard skin, and even in America, they wore the jaguar skin because it looks like a leopard. You think that was a coincidence? No, the same Africans come here. The Magi, the semi-nomadic Nubian cattle herders, pastoral people, who were famous in archery skills under the ancient Egyptians, were also the desert scouts, the desert rangers were the Magi. They were the policemen. They were the palace guards. They were the borderland patrol. They were the judges. And they were the only bodyguards of the kings. Now you might ask yourself, young brothers, who are these people that you only want to be your bodyguard? But yet they're so just, they're the judges, the magistrates, the lawyers. Who are these people? What kind of people is this? This is the Magi, who later, and the leaders of the Magi, the teachers, are the Jedi. So they didn't have to put a black uniform on like the ninja because they was already black. Okay, so you can already see. And the Magi come from ancient Kosh. Okay, ancient Kosh. I do not fix my problems, I fix my thinking, then the problems fix themselves. If there's a storm and it's blowing you away, you don't fix the storm, you fix your sails. You fix your thinking. Warriors confront the evil that most people refuse to acknowledge. And people, we got a shortage of warriors. Right now, the Europeans have it down pat. Most of our sisters are in the church or in the masjid. Most of our brothers are in prison or on the street. Most of our children are in their schools getting their minds messed up. So they got control. They know who you are. They know where you are 24/7. From the time you're 3, they know where you're at. That's why we got to take control of our own culture, our own society, our own schools. I can't say this enough, y'all. When you leave here, you got to be talking about, do we have control? You see, just putting black history in a school is like putting a Band-Aid where you need a major operation. Somebody say you need a heart transplant, and I give you a Band-Aid. Brother, we need a heart transplant. You need a heart surgeon in here. Okay. High priest, I just talked about him. The high priest in ancient Kemet with the leopard skin. This is all during this time. This is Imhotep, another picture of Imhotep, who was a high priest. The next one. The high priest in southern Africa among the Zulu. The high priest in the Congo. The high priest in Western Africa. The high priest in China. The high priest in Tibet. The Buddhist high priest. Priestship was developed by the ancient Kemetic and Cushites. All priests up to Judaism were warriors. Let me say this again. All priests up to Judaism, Christianity, and Buddhism were warriors. That means that you have mastered the body, your mind, and your soul. You can walk through the jungle with no fear. I can walk through the rainforest with no fear. Do you think the average imam can do that? How about the average chicken eating, pork chop eating priest? I don't think so. And they're going to stop off at Burger King or Kentucky Fried Chicken. No. So when we look at priests today, no matter what denomination in a religion, they are not warriors to protect you. The priests in ancient Kemet were spiritual warriors. All the way to the Buddhist priests, the Tibetan priests, the Shaolin priests, all throughout Asia, because remember, the Kushites civilized all those people across Southern Asia. So all of them were imitating ancient Kemet, which was imitating ancient Kosh. Next. Now, some of y'all saying, come on, Mfundishi, you made some of this stuff up. This is what the Kushite warriors look like. Look at the leopard skins. But now what I want you to see, this was the Egyptian army, Kemetic army, during the time of Mfundishi Jhutyms. That's the 11th dynasty, second golden age. That's his army. This was inside of his high priest's tomb. This is the Kushite army during the same time. Showing the Kushites and the Kemetic warriors were allies with each other. This was found inside of the high priest's tomb. Look, everybody got an afro. If there were some pink people in there, we have pink paint. No, I'm serious. We have pink paint. We have white paint. So if there was some pink or somebody, they would have stuck them up in there. This is for the king. This is for the high priest. So you wanted a good rendition. Okay? Look, the Kemetic army, who the Arabs claim they were the ancient Egyptians. I don't see no Arabs up in there. Okay. This is the oldest record of martial arts combat as a sophisticated system is found in ancient Kemet. We was just there. She got a picture of me doing some stuff inside of the temple. Mfundishi Jhutyms, when they defeated the North, all the people who died in that war, he commemorated every soldier as a warrior hero, as a war hero. And he created a whole burial ground for his warriors. So that's the first memorial for warriors that we know of on the planet. And he built tombs inside of the mountains and put their whole life history and stuff on top of it. Showed the administration, some of them were generals, but they were also mayors and governors and stuff like that. And he commemorated. You can see jujitsu, judo, kung fu, all of these arts on the walls in Egypt today. We were there in November.
Yep, Benny Hassan.
And then with my brother here, we just was there in February. Yes. And we were up inside of the tomb.
Just put that out here.
Again, these are pictures. This is what it looks like. And they built it from the ceiling down. So they just dug a hole in the mountain, carved out the whole wall, and went down to the floor. And I'll tell you what blew my mind, and she'll be able to substantiate this. Inside of one of the tombs of one of the generals, first of all, the room was as big as this room, dug into the mountain, perfect dimensions, right angles, everything. And then they had a shaft going 75 feet down in the ground, in the mountain. And then a room in there where the guy's body was laid. And this was done 4,000 years ago. We can't do that today. This is in the mountain, down. We are the first castles. Let me ask my young people over here. When y'all think of castles, what do y'all think of?
He said White Castle.
I can hear you. You think of White Castle. But that's all right. That's all right. That was like a European lady had her little child, and they was in the zoo, and there was a rooster there, and she asked the little girl, "What's that?" And the little girl said, "Chicken McNuggets." Okay. So sometimes people will say England, Ireland, or something like that, medieval castle building is from ancient Kosh. This is the castle 3,000 years ago. Castles were there 4,000 and 5,000 years ago. The remnants of the castle is still there. That's my picture. This is in the Sudan today. And a lot of this is going to be underwater now because they're building another dam in Sudan that will almost get rid of all of the ancient Kushite stuff. This is a castle with the moat around it. In fact, the Romans learned how to defend and attack a castle by watching the ancient Kushites. On the walls there, you will see them, those large shields that stop the arrows from coming down from them, shooting it up on top. They got that from the ancient Kushites. Those things that knock down the walls of the door and all that, they got that from the ancient Kushites. Those large slingshots that would shoot the fireball, they got that from the ancient Kushites. You think it's Roman technology. No, the Romans imitated the Greeks and the Greeks imitated the Africans. Next. Heka and Kaka. I showed you the ancient Kushites was holding this 300 years before Kemet came into existence. Everybody know what a nunchuck is? You've seen Bruce Lee with the nunchuck? That's a rice thrasher, originally. It was an agricultural tool. And what happened when they went to war, they took farm tools. In fact, almost all the Chinese weapons were farm tools. The axe, the big, they were all farm tools. When the farmers went to war, they used their weapons. Well, in ancient Kush, this is the same thing. This is for thrashing grain. But it's also for thrashing a kale. So he said, I can feed you, and I can whoop that kale. Okay. And this is the rod, the staff that guides you. So these were the two instruments that the king or the ruler would carry. And that's where the Bible says, thy rod and thy staff comfort me. Okay. But they didn't know what they were talking about. Remember, no warriors after the ancient Kushites. All priests are they just regurgitate whatever their Bible says or whatever their holy book says. They're just preachers. Next. This is real quick. When we say we are made from the elements, I wanted to show people symptomatically that we are. So our body is 65% oxygen, 18% carbon, 10% hydrogen, 3% nitrogen, 2% calcite, and others. So we are literally made of stardust. There was a Star Trek episode where it was called V'ger, where this machine had turned into consciousness. And it was gathering information throughout the whole universe. Anybody see that episode? Yeah. And Spock was following it, you know, and when they finally got to it, when the creature spotted human beings, he said, carbon-based units. Carbon-based units. So the machine understood that we were carbon-based units. Okay? And we're trying to get rid of carbon and melanin are the synonymous, are the same, you know. So everybody understands who we are except for us. Go ahead. Your hair is a coil to the universe. Don't get rid of your naps. In fact, the word nappy is the Kemetic word for hair. Let me say that again. The word nappy is the Kemetic word for hair. I remember my mom saying, boy, do something with them naps. I wish I knew what I knew now. I got to keep my naps. That's my antennas to the universe. Okay, so you got to protect your naps. All right, go ahead. I won't spend any more time on that. This is, you can get this in my book. This shows you melanin, and it shows you the positive, the serotonin, the melatonin. Serotonin keeps you awake in the day. Melatonin puts you to sleep at night. These are the positive characteristics of the two energies. So if you're melanin deficient, that's a problem. And just being melanin dominated adds so many other dimensions to your life. Do you know you can't see without melanin? And an albino usually has a sight problem. Your nervous system is run through melanin. So if you don't have melanin, your nervous system is not operating on the highest. Your taste buds is run with melanin. So you don't taste the same thing white folks taste. That's why your barbecue tastes different from theirs.
you taste the whole flavor of food. They don't. Dr. Leader Africa has this in his book, African Holistic Health. He explains the whole science. That chemistry is the study of melanin. Everybody look up Dr. Leader Africa. You can still get his books. Go ahead, next. African Holistic Health. Every cell in your body listens to your thoughts. So this is why what you think is so important. A man is how they thinketh. A person is how they think it. If you hear somebody say, oh man, you ain't it, then you ain't it. If you think you got it going on, you probably got it going on. But you got to think like that. I remember I was going for a championship, and this guy, I was fighting Rodriguez. He was the national champion. He had this red, white, and blue outfit. He's on the cover of Karate magazine, right? So I'm fighting him in the finals. So I'm doing my split, and my son is like, Dad, look at him. He's doing them Van Dam splits. You better loosen up. I said, son, Van Dam splits ain't beat nobody. Wrapping your leg around your head ain't whooping nobody. Needless to say, I won the championship. Okay. You got to convince yourself. And when while he was doing Van Dam splits, I was summoning, I want Shungo, Bachara, Set. I want all of y'all to come into my body and teach him a lesson. So I was calling on all the spirits of the greatest warriors on the planet while he was doing Van Dam. Blackness gave birth to light. Blackness gave birth to light. I need y'all to understand that. From the darkness came light, not the other way around. Okay. The womb of a woman is the most sacred place on earth. When you believe this, when you know this, you cannot allow unqualified men inside of you, women. And an elder told me you can tell the nature of a society on how they treat their women. And so we have to understand our women is sacred. And I need to say this, women. Your standard of beauty needs to be entrenched in African culture. You don't need straight, stringy hair to be beautiful. You don't need to have blonde hair, even though there are few Africans around the world with blonde hair, but that's few. That's like 1%. And Harlem is like 20% of women.
That's fake hair.
Okay, so your standard of beauty, women, African women, needs to be African culture. And African people have all different grades of hair. And so whatever you have naturally, cultivate it. Cultivate it. Next. 666. European told y'all that was the mark of the beast. 6 protons, 6 electrons, 6 neutrons is a carbon-based person, a European, an African. So they taught you to hate yourself, and that the mark of the beast was 666, when that was the mark of their creators. Okay, I come here to teach y'all. Write it down. Yeah, I want y'all to make sure. When you leave, you make sure you know that. Black is not a color. It is the essence from which all colors come from. Black people are not a race. We are the original family from which all races come from. Spiritual system of ancient Kemet. Ancient Inca and Kemet. They didn't have a religion. They had a spiritual system. And the idea was to be as close to imitating nature as possible. You wanted to be an ally with nature. That was an extension of yourself. Right now, the European Asians are at war with nature. And they're trying to imitate nature. They got robots that's going to take your place. You know, they're trying to imitate. It's going to be their own demise. And if we hanging out with them, it's going to be our demise. When you see a lot of these earthquakes and stuff like that, it's not where black people live. It's where Europeans live. But if you all buddies with the Europeans, the earthquake taking both of y'all. Now, everybody understand, Mfundishi is not racist. I have friends who have white friends. I don't have a problem with it. We're not Africans because
because you were born in Africa. I need y'all to hear this. We are not Africans because we were born in Africa. You are African because Africa was born in you. It is in your genes, your DNA, your entire biological makeup, whether you like it or not. Remember that guy with 3% room looked like the Boston Celtics locker room? Okay. That's why, however you think, you have to embrace this truth. And remember, Ami said how beautiful that would be when we understand just how dynamic we are. What is spirit? I kind of like went through this with the spirit. Okay. Spirit is the essence of all things. Spirituality is not a religion. Being spiritual just means you are in touch with your own divine self. In Madhu Nature, we have these prepositions and articles. If I put a wave of energy, that's to or towards a nature, something divine, or a remetch, an original African. If I use to or towards a place or a thing, that would be Wazungu and wild folks. Okay? But that was in their writing system. The ancient Kemetic, the ancient Kushites recognized they were divine beings. They put themselves in the same place as they did Ra, Sekhmet, Abat, okay? We no longer look at ourselves like that. Once we start looking at ourselves as divine beings, well, even in the Planet of the Apes, what did they say? Apes don't what? Who can finish that? Apes don't do what?
Kill apes.
Apes don't kill apes. That was, come on, the Planet of the Apes, they got more sense than we got? Okay. Once you understand you're a divine being, then you start operating on a divine level. So I want you to think, when you look at the other brother, and you shake their hand, you say, glad to know you divine being. Glad to know you divine sister. You got to understand we are divine. Next. Quiet the mind and the ancestors will speak to you. Yes. That's why you need half an hour, 15 minutes of meditation every day. Before you go to sleep, quiet time. You might have your sacred reading next to you, and then you read. Don't watch a monster flick and then go to bed. The kingdom of heaven is within, and whosoever shall know himself or herself shall find it. Thousands of years before the Bible was written. Spirituality takes you out of the box. We did not, okay, watch this. We didn't try religion, putting our hands up in the air saying don't shoot, marching, and everything else. Maybe it's time you get back to your ancient form of spirituality. All this other stuff ain't working for you. The top half of Africa is all Islamic, the bottom half of Africa is all Christian. It didn't work. See, that's where you can tell a genius. A genius will automatically say, okay, that's not working, we need to do something else. Not I'm going to wait till Jesus come back. It's been 2,000 years, bro. When you going to get that out? Stop being sick. Come on, if you're waiting for somebody for 20 minutes, you pissed off. Okay? 2,000 years and you still out there? Stop being sacred of the stop being scared of the spiritual world. You're gonna go there anyway. Okay? Y'all all scared of the spirit, you going anyway? People think that ancient Kemet was obsessed with death. Ancient Kemet was obsessed with life. And they understood that this phase was just a small piece of our existence to prepare you for eternity. The seed of life, woman, the portal of life. Man is the seed of life, woman is the portal of life. That's kind of like what this ankh almost represents. The woman is the seed of life, the man is the seed, and the woman is the portal, and then the children are coming on. If you think African spirituality is evil, you have been successfully indoctrinated by religion. I don't need to spend any more time. It comes from the soul. Okay, so you can see all the spirituality does not come from religion. The grand shift is the case with us. They call spirituality of our ancestors madness. But I would rather follow the madness than the lies that some religion profess or obsess with. You know, in your body, I know people are Judeo-Christian, I don't want to jump on that, but it tells you in the Bible that Abraham is an allegory. What's an allegory, y'all? A mythological story that doesn't exist. So if everybody's basing your stuff off of Abraham and the sons of Abraham and the 12 tribes, and that's like worshiping Bugs Bunny. And then you're going to say, yeah, Bugs Bunny was my cousin on my mother's side. This is what nature looks like. Can you skip all the way down towards the end? So I got about 10 slides I want to do. Y'all. Is everybody all right?
Mm-hmm.
Take a sniff.
Kind of like do a line.
This is a timeline. If you teach history, or you teach children, or you teach anybody, you should always in your classroom have a timeline. So that when you talk about something, you can show on the timeline when it happened in respect to everybody else. Out at my table, I also have a calendar, the most accurate calendar that exists in the world in ancient Kemet. I got all the Kemetic names, towns, cities, all of the names of the Netzeru, all the names in Medu Neter, and then translated to English at my table. We created it, our shrine. Remember, nobody's going to liberate us. We got to do it ourselves. We created our own flashcards for teaching the Medu Neter. We created our own booklets, our own gifts. We got to get busy, people. We got to develop our own stuff. But here, so if they say Imhotep was 3600 BCE, you should be able to look and say, well, what was happening in Europe? This is 2,000 years before the Shang Dynasty in China. The Japanese hadn't got it together yet. You know, so we begin to know everybody's history in the timeline. I already talked about this cuneiform. Medu Neter is older than cuneiform. This was just proof of it. And the ancient Kushites created both of them. Go ahead. The 42 laws of Ma'at. The oldest rendering they found was a guy named Mahathra. Mahathra was a magi warrior. He was the only person buried in the Valley of the Kings who wasn't a king. He was a magi. So why would this magi warrior be buried in the Valley of the Kings? And inside of his tomb, he had the 42 laws of Ma'at. This is what some of the magi looked like in ancient times. Haru Maketi was not done by Ka-Ifra. That statue was there before the last great flood. That's how old our ancestors are. And it used to be a lion. Remember I showed you Penmark in the ancient Kushites? So it was a lion and they recarved the head to the high priest. Now watch this. We left you all of this because we knew a day would come where you'd be robbed of the knowledge of yourself. So we're looking at all these artifacts. They left this for us, and we're looking at ourselves and don't even know it's us. Our time. Right now, this is the year 6265. So 4240 was the year Sebatawi. If we add 2025 once that becomes 6265. So this is, so if I sign a book out there, you'll see me write 6265 on it. That's out there. From our cultural perspective. Again, I just want you to just see the Necharu are principles and laws, not gods and goddesses. This is what Asar looks like. This is the ancient picture of Asar. And Asar, if your deities don't look like you, that's a problem. Okay, if you still got a white Jesus up on your wall, or white Muhammad or somebody like that, then that's a problem. That means you're culturally retarded. If you don't use your cultural symbols, then you will lose it. The seal of America comes from ancient Kemet. This is on your dollar bill. This is ancient Kemet. The Eye of Haru, somebody asked me today for the Eye of Haru, from the falcon, from nature. The Oscar Award, the highest award for the best actor or actress, is Ptah. Jhutyms and Hassan, the maid and the king, eating from the tree of life. We wanted you to eat from the tree of life. The tree of life was knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. In the European paradigm, they kick you out. Get out of here. We don't want you to learn what we're learning. Go out there and fend for yourself. We wanted you, and they would show the king, the priest, and the common people eating from the tree of life. Now let me just say this here. The acacia tree is also hallucinogenic and psychedelic. The monument, everybody understand this is the Tekken.
And also, entities.
I couldn't hear you, boy.
Last slide. Last slide.
The tree. No, the tree are deities and right, ancestral entities.
She's asking you if you feel with deities.
Entities.
The deities, Shashat?
No, the acacia.
The tree itself.
Oh, the energy of the tree. It's like the blue lotus oil. It heightens your consciousness and allows you to think outside of the box, to think out of your circumstances right now. Like you think the whole world is around you getting home at before 8 o'clock. You know, the world is still going on. Okay? And you got to be thinking other things are happening in the world at the same time. So the acacia tree allows you to understand the importance of right now. And through right now, I know everything. And so it was even the animals eat from the acacia tree. Okay, I'm going to end up on this particular slide because I want to open it up to questions. Hold up, just hold up. I'm going to have a question and answer here. So this is the Tekken. It was a phallic symbol. It represents Asar, the phallus of Asar, and the phallus of Haru. And they would be on both sides, representing the left and the right, the positive and negative charge, because in front of the temple, this would create an unlimited amount of energy. At the top would be a pyramidium on the very top of it, and it would be the special stones and metals, and so it captured energy and electric. So it wasn't just a monument, it was an electrical instrument, like they're finding out today that the pyramids and all of that is not a grave or tomb. It was some type of instrument that created energy. Okay, I'm going to stop right there, and I want to open up to any questions. I'd like to say thank you very much for your time. Here and listening to me for an hour. Okay.
I'm so thankful.